after Bahrain in the Drivers' Championship. Oscar Piastri crosses the line now to win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and lead the Drivers' Championship. Max Verstappen is beaten into second place and got that 5-second penalty. Charles Leclerc holds off Lando Norris to claim Ferrari's first podium of the season. Lando Norris with a great recovery drive. So from P10 to 4th on the road, and for the first time since 2010, the man from down under is on top. Mark Webber, his manager,
Lewis Hamilton was absolutely devastated after his performance at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, finishing a disappointing 7th place in what many are calling his worst start to a Formula One season. The 7-time world champion could barely string together words in his post-race interview, leaving reporters stunned by his uncharacteristic brevity. Hamilton, who has moved to Ferrari this year after a stellar career at Mercedes, has been struggling to adapt to his new team's car. The Saudi Arabian GP marked his 5th race with the Italian outfit, and the British driver's frustration was palpable after crossing the finish line exactly where he started, in 7th position. The contrast between Hamilton and his teammate Charles Leclerc couldn't be more stark. While Leclerc secured Ferrari's first podium of the 2025 season by finishing 3rd, Hamilton trailed a whopping 31 seconds behind. This performance gap has raised serious questions about Hamilton's ability to adapt to the Ferrari SF25. When asked in the post-race interview if there was any point during the race where he felt comfortable in the car, Hamilton's response was brutally short. No, there wasn't 1 second. The brevity of his answers continued when pressed about why the car wasn't working for him despite Leclerc's podium finish. Hamilton stated,
I don't know, clearly the car is capable of being P3, so Charles did a great job today, so I can't blame him for that.
And when questioned if he had any idea why he was struggling so much, he simply responded with a one-word answer: no. Hamilton's entire interview reportedly lasted just 32 seconds, a telling sign of his mental state after another disappointing weekend. Throughout the race, Hamilton complained over team radio that his car was sliding around the high-speed street circuit as he struggled for grip. The Briton later described his experience as horrible and not enjoyable at all. I was just sliding around. First stint, massive understeer, car not turning, and then massive deg. And in the second stint, slightly better balance but still just no pace. Hamilton explained in another brief post-race comment, "Pretty bad. What makes this situation particularly perplexing is that Hamilton did experience success with Ferrari just a few weeks ago. He won the sprint race in China from pole position, his first and only win since joining the team. However, he hasn't been able to replicate that performance since. The car came alive with the setup he used for the Chinese Grand Prix sprint race last month, and he was rewarded with pole position, and then his first and only win so far since joining Ferrari. But changes he made for the following day's Grand Prix saw it slip outside of its optimum operating window again, and he was nowhere near the fight for victory." Hamilton's struggles haven't gone unnoticed by F1 commentators. Sky F1 pundit Martin Brundle offered a particularly scathing assessment of the situation. "I struggle to buy into that he doesn't understand the car. We're knocking on the door with May," Brundle said. "Lewis hasn't gelled with this car. Lewis likes a car in a certain way. It's difficult days. What's a bit odd is all of a sudden he was right there at the end of the race." Brundle went further, comparing Hamilton's adaptation issues with other drivers who have changed teams or entered F1 recently. "It took Ollie Behrman a day here last year. He wasn't relearning a car," Brundle pointed out. "Antonelli has got used to working with Bono at Mercedes. I struggle to buy into that honestly. We know Lewis is better and faster than that. Something is not working and something is not gelling." The 7-time champion's difficulties appear to stem from a fundamental mismatch between his driving style and the requirements of the current generation of F1 cars. Hamilton's traditional approach, characterized by late, hard braking and loading up the front tires, simply isn't working with the ground effect cars that dominate today's grid. Technical analysis from the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix revealed that Hamilton's minimum speed was lower than Leclerc's in most corners. The difference was particularly noticeable in the 5th gear turn 4 to 5 and the long left-hander at turn 13, where Leclerc maintained 5th gear while Hamilton dropped to 4th. Another complicating factor is the switch from carbon industry brakes at Mercedes to Brembo brakes at Ferrari. This adjustment, combined with Ferrari's different approach to engine braking, has clearly thrown off Hamilton's finely tuned driving instincts. Perhaps most concerning for Hamilton fans is his pessimistic outlook for the remainder of the season. When asked about potential improvements, Hamilton painted a grim picture. "At the moment, there is no fix," he stated bluntly. "This is how it's going to be for the rest of the year. It's going to be painful." He added, "I don't know how much longer I'll struggle for, but it's definitely painful. Just going to try and improve from week to week." The situation is equally perplexing for Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur, who tried to downplay concerns while acknowledging the issues. Vasseur said this after the race.
Anything to report from Lewis's side?
No, I didn't discuss with Lewis that, but it was a bit up and down. It's not that he was always out of the pace, but let me discuss with him first. No, perhaps with the confidence with the car, perhaps with a little bit with himself also, that everything is new.
Vasseur remains supportive, emphasizing that Hamilton's disappointment is actually a positive sign of his competitive nature. "I will be 2,000% behind him, and I will give him support here, and we will start from tomorrow morning to try to find solutions," the Ferrari boss stated. It's not a transitional time, but for sure he's down, because when you finish the race in 7th and your teammate is on the podium, honestly, I take it as positive that Lewis is down, because if he was happy with this, it wouldn't be normal. For Charles Leclerc, the Saudi Arabian GP was a completely different experience. The Monegasque driver expressed satisfaction with his podium finish, which represented Ferrari's first of the season in a full Grand Prix. "I was very happy with the race today. We maximized absolutely everything. Very proud of what we've done," Leclerc said. "I never expected to finish here. I thought this race was about defending the cars behind." Leclerc's comments highlight the stark contrast in driver experiences within the same team, with the 26-year-old feeling very at ease with the car, while his illustrious teammate struggles. Hamilton's qualifying performance the day before the race was equally troubling. He managed only 7th on the grid, trailing his teammate by over half a second. Hamilton said this after Saturday's session, "It's been challenging as always in qualifying for me. I've been nowhere all weekend and 13th, I think, in almost every session." When asked about the issue, Hamilton placed the blame squarely on himself rather than the car. "Ultimately, I'm lacking a lot of pace," he said. "It's just me not gelling with the car at the moment." This pattern has become all too familiar for Hamilton since his victory in the China sprint race. In Saudi Arabia, while he was happier with the car in qualifying than in practice, it was still far from where he needed it to be. His qualifying session showed flashes of promise that quickly disappeared. Hamilton outpaced Leclerc in Q1, but this was largely because his teammate didn't improve on his final run. By Q2, Hamilton was 0.236 seconds behind Leclerc and barely scraped into the top 10, edging out Williams driver Alex Albon by just 0.007 seconds. The final blow came in Q3, when Hamilton was a 10th slower than his Q2 time, while Leclerc improved by 0.2. For a driver of Hamilton's caliber, with 7 world championships and numerous records to his name, this level of struggle is unprecedented. He currently sits 7th in the Drivers' Championship with 33 points, a massive 68 points behind leader Oscar Piastri, and 17 points behind Leclerc.